with more footage from the ISS submitted by who knows. This is a GoPro shot that we're looking at. Free flowing video shot by an unknown astronaut. Who knows what's going on? We got Johnny Webb and Danny right here at Third Phase of Moon. Johnny's all the way in the UK, who submitted this footage from a unknown source, but we're going to share it right now to Third Phase of Moon. Johnny Webb, we're going to be looking at footage of what looks to be like a UFO shot while a selfie's going on. We got Johnny Webb and Danny. Thanks for joining us right here at Third Phase of Moon.
Hey Blake, nice to meet you. Brett, good to meet you again, sir. As you can see, very interesting bit of footage there. Space shuttle, sorry, not space shuttle, but the ISS. Got some outside workers there. Looks like they're on the Canadian arm. But as you see, very clearly is a bright light behind them. And no matter what angle they move that camera, even on his selfie pose there, he's still showing that bright light, which in UFO terms, it could be called a beam ship. You know, at the moment we can't see it in the sense of it being zoomed in like I'm sure you guys will be able to do with your equipment. But from what I see now, it's bright, it's definitely there. It's not a speck, it's not a piece of dust. It's certainly not some kind of anomaly on the film. It's a real solid piece of light that's out in the middle of that pitch black. So I think it's real, you know. It looks real, the ISS machinery looks real. What do you guys think?
Well, you know, it's quite interesting. It is this HD footage shot on a GoPro, which is quite incredible in itself. But what's getting me is, besides this UFO or anomaly, we're zooming in on it and we're going to enhance the footage, is this patch on the astronaut's right arm. Any ideas on this, Danny?
No, it's got, hi guys, Brett and Blake. It has me puzzled too. I'm not used to seeing a patch like that, and it would be great if your listeners might be able to help identify that.
Yeah, what's interesting is it looks a bit like a Leonardo da Vinci human being. You know, when you see that man that's spread out, you know, it's got that sort of logo on it. And so, you know, I know that they have their own themes, or what's the word, emblem, and it's not an emblem that I'm used to seeing, but it's very interesting. You know, we do see a the United States flag, but as I say, the emblem looks strange. You know, it's not something that I'm looking at on the webpage of NASA at the moment that we can even, you know, account for what it is. But it's certainly strange. I was thinking that alongside NASA, who's a public, obviously, space agency, we do have these private agencies, you know, Dragon X. I wondered if it could be a private, you know, space team.
That's very possible.
Well, you know, that's what I think Third Phase of Moon is going to come in handy for. I guarantee within 24 hours, we're going to find out, hopefully, who this astronaut is who shot this, and give us some information on what this emblem is. You got 2 stars up on the upper right, and then 3 stars on the lower left. What does that represent? And then also, what's this guy's name? Because we want to talk to this guy, because it seems like he wants to capture a UFO. He's doing this selfie for a reason, it seems to me. He has a smirk on his face. He's actually kind of going out of his way to get it. I know NASA has a lot of footage that we've been showcasing on Third Phase of Moon for probably over 2 years. Dozens of UFO videos. Shocking in its own sense. We're not exactly sure what they are, but NASA's not explaining them away by any means. Is this... Yeah, go ahead.
Blake and Brett, I'm looking through the ISS space station patches, a database of their patches, and while I don't find one that has the stars, I do see one that has a very similar, it almost looks like the man in the suit is doing jumping jacks, and it says mission operations at the top, and then it says extravehicular activity in red in the middle, and then at the bottom it has 5 symbols. They're not recognizable symbols, but maybe that's a clue to help out the listeners.
So let me get to, yeah, that's good investigation. Thanks for sharing that. Can you email me that right now? I'd like to see that and put that up on that and put that in Skype. That's real-time information coming in, but it still doesn't resolve the mystery behind what that object is and if this is who's the astronaut. Where did this information come in from, Johnny?
Well, I'm looking at obviously the good old-fashioned YouTube, and I'm starting to see information coming in. It says that this footage was taken by US astronaut Terry Virts, V-I-R-T-S, during 2 spacewalks on the ISS Expedition 42. So they were using the EVA-30 GoPro footage. So that's what I'm getting at the moment, but that needs to be verified. Remember, YouTube isn't an absolute, but you can normally take for face value some of it, what's on there.
Well, absolutely. I think what we're looking at is 100% genuine footage. I know what GoPro looks like. The technology is quite high and the clarity is there. This isn't some kind of production or movie that we're watching. This is something that was captured by an astronaut. What do you think the technology behind this? What kind of cameras are being used right now?
Well, as I say, looking at the footage I've got here, it's a GoPro camera. This seems to be available from anybody. It doesn't seem to be a Hasselblad or anything that you need specifications on. It seems to me that they've just got what they would normally use underwater, a cover, and in this case, it's filming for space. So you'd have to take some kind of precautions. Obviously, the cold of space or the heat of space, depending on if you're in and out of the sun. So, but overall, it looks like a standard camera, a GoPro camera.
Wow, it's amazing that GoPro in itself could take up a regular consumer product up into outer space and capture these images, and now they're capturing UFOs or unidentified. This is even better than NASA footage in itself. That's what I wonder, is why doesn't NASA just use straight up good camera equipment? Because they're always using the worst camera equipment around, and I think that might be a reason why. I think there's a reason behind that.
Yeah, that would be my line of thinking too, is that there's a reason why they use subpar camera equipment, is to basically keep us from seeing detailed images like this, because this image is just unbelievable.
Johnny?
Yeah, it's interesting, because like I say before, we used to see people saying, well, did you know that NASA's not real and that it's all filmed in a swimming pool, and the women have got all their hair in some sort of lacquer, so it looks like their hair's floating in space, when really they're just in the vomit comet, they called it. The plane that flies up and for a few seconds gives you that feel of anti-gravity. But when they used to say, oh yeah, it's in water. Well, this footage is HD. It is a GoPro camera, and there doesn't look like any water to me. That looks like the open vastness of space. So I'm out on the water side. I think this is definitely space. They're in low Earth orbit, and there is something out there with them. It is a gold, bright, shining object that is stationary, and no matter what angle these guys move, it stays there. So, it's a very good catch, Blake.
Well, I think so, and we also gotta ask the big question, and say, hey, let's step away and say it's not an alien spacecraft. Then what is it? Let's speculate on what this possibly could be. Any thoughts, Danny?
One guess could be space junk. We've got tons of space junk floating around out there, and could be the sun, or the sun reflecting off of a piece of a space junk. But after watching the video, that's not the first thing that comes to mind for me. That's one thing.
Well, if I look at it, Danny, and I think to myself, well, say it was the the space station. What do they call it when they resupply it? You know, a resupply mission, say, and
Right.
it was say the Dragon
The
X
Dragon
giving
X?
a resupply. Now, the Dragon X coming in and giving a resupply, I doubt very much would happen on the same day that they're having an event where they're having to fix the outside of the space station on the outside there. I think the attention would be drawn too much to them being on the outside. And so to say that there's something coming in to give deliveries or things like that, I just don't think that would be happening on the same day that they've got an expedition outside of the ISS. So for me, I'm out that it's some kind of delivery system or SpaceX, you know, Dragon X. I don't think it's that.
No,
Well, you know what?
agree. I don't feel that it's any type of delivery system. It would probably be unsafe for them to be outside as a delivery was being made. You know, that's just that doesn't make sense to me either. If that's something that it could be.
Well, this is what I would say. It's not swamp gas. Let's put it that way. That's what a lot of skeptics and trollers will say about any UFO. Or it's, or it could be the moon. So we're getting comments already on this video, shared via subtle interest to people that want to look at this video. Could it be the moon? What's your opinion on that?
No matter if the moon's, you know, in a low sort of horizon, it can look very big. But then once it gets up past objects that we can define, you know, a size and shape towards it, and it gets up there on its own, it looks small, the moon. But it hasn't changed in size. It's always stayed the same. And it doesn't matter if they're like 300 miles up in the ISS. I don't think that moon will shrink in size, and I don't believe that's the moon. It looks too disc-shaped rather than, you know, a solid oval shape, you know, round shape that we get with the moon. It looks like a disc. It looks like a beam ship to me.
We got Brent Cousins right here at Third Phase of the Moon. He's joining us. He wanted to chime in and ask a question and share his thoughts. And I do think it's a dish shape or something extraordinary, maybe observing the International Space Station. The question is, what was the name of the astronaut? What was his? Do we have any profile of what he was up there doing? What was his mission being outside of the International Space Station? Johnny, do you have that up on the web? Does it give any description?
Yeah. What I found was on the mission was that this footage was taken by US astronaut Terry Virts during the spacewalk. Now, that's not to say that the mission footage that we're seeing is the same mission of the YouTube video that I'm seeing, because it doesn't look like the same. But it is from a GoPro camera, and it is from one of the ISS astronauts called Terry Virts.
Is it Tory Burch or?
No, Terry, Terry, Virts, Virts. And it says there that this during his spacewalk on the EVA, on the International Space Station, on March the 1st, 2015, the pair routed 400 feet of cable and installed several antennas associated with the Common Communications for Visiting Vehicle Systems, known as the C2V2, Boeing's Crew Transportation System, or CST, and the SpaceX Crew Dragon will use the system in the coming years to rendezvous with the orbital laboratory and deliver crews to the space station. So there is footage from a GoPro camera, but it doesn't seem to be the same footage that you've got. But I haven't seen the whole footage yet because there's 40 minutes of it. So, you know, I'll have to do some investigations more.
Absolutely. Good job there, Johnny Webb. You know what interests me is NASA taking video from the astronauts themselves via GoPro. If astronauts are shooting their own selfies, who owns this? Who owns the rights to this video? I know NASA's owned by the public, the United States American citizen, and it's free to the world. It's free for everybody because that's NASA. But in this case, it'll be interesting. We'll see if the astronaut wants to say, hey, look, I don't want this footage out there. Hey, I'm hoping he gets to see this and he could explain to us right here at Third Phase of Moon of exactly what this is. And I'm hoping that he watches and the world watches what's going on down right here at Third Phase about sharing real-time video that's been coming in. Also, lots of videos coming into Third Phase of Moon in regards to ISS, NASA footage. Your thoughts on some of the stuff that's been coming in over the past couple of years to Third Phase of Moon? Do you think NASA's going to finally disclose, or are they still going to keep mum's a word, never a straight answer?
Never a straight answer. My opinion, I think that it's going to be mum's a word, never a straight answer, until their hand is forced. You know, until we get the quote unquote landing on the White House lawn or landing on the UN lawn or something to that effect. The government would have, our government would have too much to explain for too long, too many lives, you know, to go back and to have to account for. And in my personal opinion, I do not see disclosure happening, you know, just happening voluntarily.
Johnny?
You know?
There was speculation from people that there was a big meteor going to come down in 500 days, and so some guy was standing next to John Kerry in the White House, and he was making this statement saying that there's only 500 days to go, and that 500 days would finish on the 25th of September this year. And so people were saying that Jade Helm and these martial law things that are going to be coming into America is going to happen so that they can quell the panic of when this thing does hit, if a meteor strikes. But NASA was forced to make a statement regarding this yesterday. And they made a statement and they said, well, we don't expect anything to be hitting planet Earth for at least the next 300 years in their recordings of their trajectories. So, you know, that's the newest information we've got from NASA. I'm surprised they even answered the question at all, because to most people it would sound like conspiracy theory. But if NASA can come out and make a statement, then there must be something to it, you know?
Absolutely.
You know, there's been a lot of talk about Jade Helm and a lot of concern, Jade Helm 13, and a lot of concern. And so I could see them coming out and addressing that question one time, but I wouldn't expect them to address it more than that one time that they did.
Well, you know, that is definitely something that needs to be looked into for sure. You know what I'm thinking of, though, is that the people at Third Phase Moon are going to be watching this video and sharing it to the world, because that's what's happening right now. We appreciate Johnny Webb sharing this footage to us. And any last words for the people?
Well, just you know, I think what you guys are doing is a tremendous job. I know you get a lot of flack for what you give, but I hope you're proud enough to stand up and rise above it and just keep up what you're doing. You know, and at the end of the day, it's them that have got to come round to our understanding. You know, and I think that what you're doing is a good job, and I appreciate your work, and thank you for inviting us on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I appreciate your work too, your hard work. I know you guys put in a lot of time and a lot of effort, and it's videos like these that make it all worth it, I'm sure, for you guys. And certainly, you know, I appreciate you inviting me on and allowing me to give my opinion, and hopefully we'll get some more information as this video is disseminated across the world.
Absolutely, Danny. That's what's going to be happening. Johnny Webb, appreciate it. You know what's happening is that what you just heard is breaking news. Two breaking news stories is that, hey, a selfie captured by an astronaut and a UFO over his right-hand shoulder. And then we have NASA announcing that we don't have to worry for 300 years at least until some kind of a catastrophe, if we could avert it, a comet or an asteroid strike. Well, 300 years is something long for mankind. It's something that we should cherish, and we have to explore this universe, is my opinion. Everybody, keep your eyes on the skies. We're not alone, and if you've captured anything amazing, like Johnny Webb, submit it to Third Phase of Moon via Skype, Facebook. We're standing by. Go to our About page on Third Phase of Moon. Our contact is there. Blake Cousins. We'll see everybody again next time.